Hello friends, welcome to SahuStudies. In this video, we are going to discuss about value encoding in Power BI. So, value encoding uses mathematical process to reduce the number of bits which needed to store integer value. It uses mathematical process to determine the relationship between values column and convert them into a smaller values of storage. So whenever you are talking about the value encoding, internally it will going to use a mathematical process which will going to determine relationship between the values of the column and convert them into a smaller value of storage. And value encoding will only going to apply for the encoding to those column which has integer as a data type. It works for integer including currency. It cannot apply to string or a floating point values. As we have discussed that it will going to apply only to integer including currency data type. It will not going to apply those columns which data type will be string or floating point values. Let's discuss how value encoding will going to store the data. This is a very simple example, but Power BI could do a very complex value encoding process. But for the learning purpose, I have just used very simple encoding functionality. Okay, so suppose this is the AP salary column, and this is the value which is stored in this column. This data is visible. This data will visible like this only, and maximum is 18 bit is needed. So suppose we are going to store this value. Okay, this value, and maximum bits which will going to store is 18 bits. For instance, so suppose if this kind of a value is present and the row will be millions of rows, how much data will go, how much amount it will going to require to store the data which is present in the AP salary. But with the help of a value encoding, how it will going to do, it will store the value like this. It will going to create a relationship between this value and this value. For instance, that it will going to take three values only. So this value will going to store like this. This value will going to store like this. This value is going to store like this, and this value is going to store like this. So this is a mathematical process, and Power BI creates a relationship between this value and this value with the help of a value encoding process. And this is the data which is getting stored in the Power BI. And suppose this is the max value. So this is the max value which is present in this column, and this is required only 9 bits. So 40% reduction is there here. This, suppose this is the value which we are going to store, and it requires 18 bit to store. Here this is the maximum value, and it required only 9 bits. So almost 15% reduction of the space will be. This is for only one value, but suppose there are millions of records present, then we can imagine that how much space we are going to save. The vertipaq engine remembers the process of reducing the size of the data. So there is a relationship between this and this to reduce the size of the data. But vertipaq engine remember the process, and it will apply the same process in the opposite direction. Thank you. If you like content of my video, then please subscribe my channel, like it, comment on it, and press the bell icon to get notification whenever I add videos.